Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most life-changing books out there, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This book isn't just about concepts, it's a guide to living in the present moment. In the next hour, we'll explore each chapter through stories and simple explanations that will help you understand how living in the now can transform your life. So, whether you're looking for more peace or just curious about mindfulness, stick with me as we explore the hidden wisdom of this book. Imagine yourself in a crowded cafe. All around you, there's noise, people chatting, dishes clinking, music playing in the background. Now, close your eyes for a second and think about how noisy your mind can be, just like that cafe. Constantly racing with thoughts, worries, to-do lists, regrets. It's exhausting, isn't it? But here's the thing. What if I told you that you don't have to listen to all that noise? In Chapter 1 of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle introduces us to the idea that we are not our thoughts. Most of us believe that we are the voices in our head. We identify with every worry, every passing thought, every what if. But Tolle teaches us that we are actually the awareness behind the thoughts. Think of your thoughts like clouds in the sky. They come, they go, and sometimes they seem overwhelming. But just like you wouldn't confuse yourself with the clouds, you don't need to confuse yourself with your thoughts. You are the sky, the space where these clouds, these thoughts, pass by. Now, imagine for a moment that you're sitting quietly, and a thought pops into your head. I'm not good enough. What happens next? Most of us would cling to that thought and spiral into more negative thinking. But what if instead of attaching to that thought, you just noticed it? Acknowledge it's there, but let it pass without judging it or letting it define you. Tolle explains that the key to peace is understanding that thoughts are just passing events. They aren't who you truly are. You are the awareness, the observer behind those thoughts. Once you realize this, you start to free yourself from the constant chatter in your mind. And that's when true peace begins. So, what can we take away from Chapter 1? It's this. You are not your mind. You don't have to get lost in every thought or emotion that crosses your mind. Instead, you can step back and simply observe them. The next time you're feeling overwhelmed by your thoughts, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I am not my thoughts. I am the awareness behind them. That simple shift can make all the difference in finding peace. Now, in Chapter 2 of The Power of Now, we're diving into something we all deal with, pain. Eckhart Tolle reveals that the way out of pain isn't as complicated as we think. It's about consciousness. Stick with me for the next few minutes as we explore this in a simple story you can easily picture. Imagine this. You're sitting at home, thinking about something painful that happened weeks ago. Maybe it was a breakup or a mistake at work. You feel that familiar tightness in your chest, the weight of sadness in your body. The pain feels so real, right? But here's a question. Where is that pain actually coming from? Tolle explains that most of our pain isn't from what's happening now, but from the way we hold on to past experiences or worry about the future. We relive the hurt in our minds, and that keeps the pain alive. The mind loves to drag us into painful memories or future anxieties, and before we know it, we're trapped in a cycle of suffering. But here's the twist. Tolle says that pain is a story the mind tells. The moment you bring your awareness to the now, you cut off that story. Let's say, instead of dwelling on that painful thought, you bring your attention to what's happening right now. How does your body feel? What can you hear around you? Suddenly, the pain starts to fade because pain can only survive in the past or future. The present moment? That's where peace lives. The next time you feel overwhelmed by pain, ask yourself, am I suffering because of what's happening right now, or because of my mind's story about the past or future? By simply shifting your awareness to the present moment, you take away the mind's power to keep you in pain. You realize that in this moment, everything is okay. That's the power of consciousness. It's the way out of pain. So, what can we take away from Chapter 2? Pain is often a creation of the mind, a story we keep telling ourselves about the past or the future. But the more aware we become, the more we can see through that story. When you focus on the present moment, the grip of pain starts to loosen. In this moment, right now, you are free. We've already learned that our minds love to trap us in the past or future, and that being present is the key to peace. But in Chapter 3 of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle invites us to move even deeper into the now. It's not just about being present, but fully immersing ourselves in this moment. What does that feel like? Well, let's find out. Picture this. You're walking down a busy street, phone in hand, scrolling through messages. The world around you is a blur. You're not really here. You're in some mental space, thinking about tomorrow's tasks or yesterday's regrets. Does that sound familiar? Now imagine you take a different walk. You're in a forest, your phone's tucked away, and you start paying attention to everything around you. You feel the earth beneath your feet. You hear the birds calling to one another. You smell the fresh scent of pine. In that moment, something shifts. You're no longer trapped in your mind. You're here, fully alive in the now. Tolle explains that when we move deeply into the now, we're no longer just aware of the present moment. We become one with it. Every moment becomes richer, more alive. We stop labeling and analyzing everything, and instead, we experience life directly. No past, no future, just this moment. Think of it like this. You're not just watching life anymore. You're part of it. The separation between you and life disappears. You're not worrying about what happens next. You're not regretting what came before. You're just being. And in that state, the present moment becomes an endless source of peace. Tolle teaches us that when we move deeply into the now, the external world might not change, but our experience of it does. You can be in the busiest city or the quietest forest and still feel that deep sense of presence, peace, and connection. So, what's the takeaway from Chapter 3? It's not just about being in the present. It's about fully immersing yourself in it. The more we practice this, the richer our experience of life becomes. Whether you're walking through a bustling city or sitting quietly at home, the key is to be here fully in this moment. When you stop resisting life and start moving deeply into the now, everything changes. Life becomes brighter, more peaceful, and, most importantly, you feel truly alive. We've talked about being present and moving deeply into the now. But in Chapter 4 of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle reveals a challenge we all face. The mind has strategies to avoid the present moment. Ever wonder why it's so hard to stay in the now? It's because your mind has tricks to pull you away. Let's explore how we can see through those tricks and take back control. It's a quiet morning. You're enjoying your coffee, but suddenly your phone starts buzzing. Emails, notifications, reminders. Your peaceful moment is shattered. In a blink, your mind pulls you into the future. You start worrying about your deadlines, your meetings, your plans for the weekend. The now? It's gone. You've left it without even realizing. Tolle explains that the mind uses the future as a way to avoid the present. We've all experienced it, haven't we? You're physically here, but your mind is already living in tomorrow, filled with what-if scenarios and plans. And when it's not the future pulling you away, it's the past. Ever find yourself replaying old conversations or regrets in your head, long after they've happened? Just like a broken record, our minds love to replay past events, keeping us stuck in old memories. And why does it do that? Because the mind doesn't want to face the stillness of the present. It thrives on distraction, whether it's pulling you into the future or dragging you back into the past. It's all a strategy to avoid the peace of now. But here's the good news. Once you see the mind's tricks, you can stop falling for them. The moment you notice your mind pulling you away, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's happening right now? Tolle tells us that by simply becoming aware of these mind games, we start to break free from them. When we see through the mind strategies, the now becomes clearer and more peaceful. The mind loses its grip, and we regain our power to live fully in the present. The future and the past can't take that from us anymore. So, what do we learn in Chapter 4? The mind loves to avoid the present moment by pulling us into the past or the future. But the more we notice these strategies, the less power they have over us. Each time you catch your mind wandering, just bring yourself back to the now. It's that simple. Your mind might try to avoid the now, but your awareness is stronger. Stay conscious, stay present, and watch as life becomes more peaceful, more vibrant, and more real. So far, we've explored how the mind pulls us out of the present moment, how we can step into awareness, and let go of past and future worries. But what happens when we truly live in the now? In Chapter 5 of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle introduces us to the state of presence. It's more than just awareness. It's living in a state of deep connection with life. Let's dive into what this powerful state feels like and how it can transform your daily experience. Think about your usual day. You're rushing through tasks, checking off to-do lists, moving from one thing to the next without really being here. It's like you're running on autopilot, barely aware of the present moment. Sound familiar? Now imagine the same day, but this time, you're in a state of presence. You're no longer rushing from one moment to the next. Instead, you're fully alive to this moment. You feel the breeze on your face. You hear the sounds of life around you, and every step you take feels intentional. This is the state of presence that Tolle describes, where life feels richer, deeper, and more meaningful. In the state of presence, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. It's like you've slowed down enough to really see life, rather than rush through it. Simple things like washing dishes or walking your dog suddenly feel peaceful and even joyful. Why? Because you're not distracted by past or future thoughts. You're fully engaged with what is right here, right now. But this state isn't just about feeling peaceful. It's also about being deeply connected to life. When you're present, you're not resisting what's happening. You're accepting and flowing with it. The struggles and stress that usually overwhelm you start to lose their power because they can't survive in the now. It's as if you've entered a different dimension of life, one where peace and clarity are always available to you. So, what did Chapter 5 teach us? The state of presence is more than just being aware of the now. It's about living in the now. It's a deeper connection to life where every moment, no matter how simple, feels full of peace and meaning. This is where real transformation happens. When you embrace the state of presence, life becomes lighter, and the things that once stressed you out lose their grip. Instead of resisting life, you start flowing with it. And that's where true peace lies, in being fully here in this moment. In the last chapter, we learned about living in the state of presence. But how can we stay anchored in the now, especially when our thoughts pull us away? In Chapter 6 of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle introduces a powerful tool for this: connecting with your inner body. What does that mean? And how can it change the way you experience life? Let's explore. Picture this. You're at work, stressed out, your mind racing with tasks and deadlines. It feels like your thoughts are running the show, and your body is just a distant background. You're barely aware of how tense your shoulders are, or that your breathing has become shallow. Sound familiar? But imagine this. What if, instead of being lost in stress and thought, you took a moment to connect with your body? What if you closed your eyes, took a deep breath, and brought your attention inward? This is what Tolle calls feeling your inner body. It's the simple act of tuning in to the energy within you. Tolle explains that the inner body is like an anchor, keeping you connected to the present moment. When you bring your attention to the energy inside you, whether it's feeling the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe, or simply sensing the aliveness in your hands or feet, you step out of the chaotic mind and into a deeper awareness. By staying connected to the inner body, you create a space between yourself and your thoughts. You're no longer pulled around by the stress and stories your mind tells. Instead, you experience a deeper calm, a deeper sense of presence. This connection brings you back to the now, over and over again. When you connect with the inner body, you can be anywhere, in the middle of a busy office, on a walk, or even stuck in traffic, and still feel grounded. Your mind may try to distract you, but by shifting your attention inward, you regain control. It's a practice that brings peace into even the most stressful situations. So, what's the lesson from Chapter 6? Your body is more than just a physical form. It's a gateway to presence. By focusing on the energy within you, you can move beyond the mind's chaos and reconnect with the now. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to stay centered, no matter what's happening around you. Remember, Presence isn't just something you think about, it's something you feel, and your body is your guide. Next time stress hits or your mind starts racing, try this. Take a deep breath, bring your attention inward, and reconnect with the life energy within. You'll be surprised at how quickly peace returns. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who could use a little more peace in their day. Remember, presence is just a breath away. We've explored staying present through the inner body and the state of presence. But in Chapter 7 of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle introduces us to a fascinating concept: portals into the unmanifested. What does that mean? And how can we access these portals to connect with the deeper essence of life? Let's uncover this together. Imagine you're walking in a forest, surrounded by the beauty of nature. As you move slowly, you notice the intricate patterns of leaves, the sound of the wind rustling through the trees, and the peaceful silence that seems to envelop you. This environment feels almost otherworldly, doesn't it? It's like you've stepped into a space where the everyday distractions fall away. Tolle describes these kinds of moments as portals into the unmanifested. These are experiences that connect us with a deeper dimension of reality, beyond the physical world and our usual thoughts. It's like touching the essence of life itself, where words and concepts fade, and you're left with a pure sense of being. When you're fully immersed in such moments, you tap into the unmanifested, the formless, timeless essence behind all physical forms. It's a state where you're not thinking about the past or future. You're simply being. The river, the rustling leaves, the sunlight, they all become a reflection of this deeper dimension. It's a direct experience of pure presence. Tolle teaches that these portals are always available to us. They're not just found in nature, but also in everyday moments. When you're fully present, whether you're listening to music, savoring a meal, or simply enjoying a quiet moment, you can touch the unmanifested. These experiences remind us that life is more than just the material and the mental. They connect us with a deeper reality. Even in the midst of chaos, these portals are present. You don't have to be in a serene forest to find them. The key is to be fully aware and present, no matter where you are. The unmanifested is not separate from your daily life. It's woven into the fabric of every moment. So, what did Chapter 7 reveal? Portals into the unmanifested are gateways to a deeper dimension of life, where you connect with the essence beyond the physical and mental realms. By being fully present, you can access these portals anytime, anywhere. These moments of connection remind us of the richness and depth of life that goes beyond the surface. Next time you find yourself in a peaceful moment, remember, this is your portal into the unmanifested. Embrace it, and let it deepen your experience of the now. In the previous chapters, we've delved into the essence of presence and the unmanifested. Now, in Chapter 8 of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle explores a fascinating topic: enlightened relationships. What does it mean to bring presence into our relationships? How can our connections with others transform when we live in the now? Let's uncover these insights together. Imagine a typical dinner with a loved one. You're both there, but the conversation is punctuated with distractions. Checking phones, thinking about work, or letting your mind wander. It feels like you're physically present but emotionally disconnected. This is a common experience in many relationships. Now, picture this. You and your partner are truly present with each other. No phones, no distractions, just two people deeply engaged in the moment. You listen actively, respond thoughtfully, and your interaction flows naturally. This is what Tolle refers to as an enlightened relationship. Tolle explains that when we bring presence into our relationships, we move beyond surface-level interactions. We connect on a deeper level, where our communication is not just about exchanging words, but about truly being with each other. It's about experiencing a profound sense of connection and understanding. Enlightened relationships also extend to our interactions with friends and colleagues. When we bring our full attention to these moments, we're not just sharing experiences, we're creating meaningful connections. It's in these interactions that we can experience the joy of true presence and the richness of being together. Being present doesn't just enhance our interactions with others. It also transforms how we perceive ourselves in relation to them. We become more aware of our own reactions, expectations, and patterns. This self-awareness allows us to approach relationships with greater empathy and openness. So, what are the takeaways from Chapter 8? Enlightened relationships are about bringing the depth of presence into our connections with others. When we are truly present, our relationships become more authentic, fulfilling, and joyful. It's about being with others in a way that transcends ordinary interactions and taps into a deeper sense of unity and understanding. Next time you're with someone, remember this: your presence is a gift. By being fully engaged, you create space for meaningful connection and mutual growth. In our journey through the power of now, we've explored presence, enlightened relationships, and more. In Chapter 9, Eckhart Tolle delves into a profound concept. Beyond happiness and unhappiness, there is peace. What does this mean, and how can we access this deeper state of being? Let's discover together. Consider this. You're scrolling through social media, and you come across posts that either make you feel happy or bring you down. This constant cycle of seeking happiness and avoiding unhappiness can feel exhausting. You chase after the next positive experience, only to be pulled into another negative one. But what if there's a deeper state of peace available? One that goes beyond the highs and lows of happiness and unhappiness. Tolle suggests that true peace isn't dependent on external circumstances. It's a state of being that exists beyond these fluctuating emotions. This deeper peace is not something you need to chase after. It's already within you, accessible through presence. When you're fully in the now, you experience a tranquility that isn't disturbed by the external world. It's a state of being that transcends temporary emotions. Whether you're enjoying a quiet moment alone, spending time with others, or even dealing with challenges, this inner peace remains unaffected. It's a constant underlying presence that stays with you, no matter the external circumstances. Tolle emphasizes that this peace comes from a shift in perspective. When you stop seeking happiness as a goal and start embracing the present moment as it is, you discover a profound inner calm. This peace is not an escape from reality, but a deeper connection to it. So, what did Chapter 9 teach us? Beyond the pursuit of happiness and the avoidance of unhappiness lies a state of peace that's always available to you. By embracing the now and finding contentment in the present moment, you tap into this deeper, more enduring tranquility. Next time you find yourself caught in the cycle of emotions, remember, true peace is not dependent on external factors. It's a state you can access by being fully present. In Chapter 10 of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle introduces the concept of surrender. What does surrender mean in the context of living in the now? How can it transform our experience of life? Let's dive into this chapter and uncover the meaning of surrender. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads, overwhelmed by the pressure to make everything perfect. You're trying to control every aspect of your life, from your career to your relationships. But no matter how hard you try, things seem to slip through your fingers. This constant struggle and resistance can lead to frustration and burnout. But what if there's another way? Tolle describes surrender as a state of acceptance and letting go of the need to control everything. It's not about giving up or resigning to fate. It's about accepting the present moment as it is and finding peace within it. Surrender, in Tolle's view, means accepting things as they are without resistance. It's about letting go of the need to fight against the present moment and instead embracing it fully. When you surrender, you stop struggling against what is and start flowing with life's natural rhythms. This doesn't mean you stop taking action or pursuing goals. Instead, it means you approach life with a sense of ease and acceptance. You act from a place of inner peace rather than from stress and resistance. You align with the present moment, which brings a natural clarity and direction to your actions. By embracing surrender, you open yourself to a deeper flow of life. You start to notice opportunities and solutions that were previously hidden under layers of resistance. Surrender allows you to be present with what is, And in that presence, you find new ways to respond to life's challenges. So, what's the essence of Chapter 10? Surrender is about accepting the present moment, letting go of the need to control, and finding peace within. It's not about giving up, but about embracing life as it unfolds with a sense of calm and openness. Next time you find yourself struggling against the flow of life, remember, surrender isn't about giving up. It's about finding peace and acceptance. So, what's the big takeaway from the power of now? It's simple, but profound. Life only ever happens in the now. By learning to live in the present moment, we can break free from the constant noise of our minds, end unnecessary suffering, and find peace in everyday life. Whether it's recognizing that you are not your mind, becoming aware of how pain is created, or practicing presence in your relationships, each chapter of this book offers practical wisdom for a more peaceful and fulfilling life. The power to transform your experience is right here, in this moment. The more we let go of the past and stop worrying about the future, the more we'll discover the freedom and joy that comes from living in the now. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the power of now. If you found value in this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who could use a little more peace in their life. Remember, peace isn't something you have to chase. It's always here, in the present moment. Until next time, may you find peace in every moment and flow with the rhythm of life.